Hello and a very happy new year. As the season hits the halfway mark, we have lots to bring you from all things Claret and Blue. Welcome to the January edition of Turf Moor. Academy Director Paul Jenkins brings us the latest from the development of the youth setup. Midfielder Hollie Kelsh shares her incredible story following treatment for a heart condition. And skipper Ben Mee recalls on 10 years at Turf Moor. But first, we kick off this month's show with club commentator Phil Bird, as he was joined recently by Clarets cult hero Roger Eli.
Really pleased to say I've got a special guest alongside me in Clarets Plus, one of my all-time Clarets heroes, Roger Eli is here. Good to see you, Roger.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, Phil. Good to see you.
Roger, I want to just have a look at your Burnley career. I mean, you actually started at Leeds.
I did.
Alan Clark brought you here, didn't he?
Yes, gosh, it seems like a long time. I mean, Leeds United were my boyhood club. Alan Clark signed me. Unfortunately, he got sacked when they got relegated from the old First Division, and my boyhood hero Alan Clark took over. So
Eddie Gray
took over, which was unbelievable, you know.
So, Frank Casper brought you to Burnley. You'd been at Wolves, Bury. You came from Bury, I think, to
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I came from Bury, and Frank were coach at the time. I was there probably about 6 or 7 months with Frank, and fortunately he got the Burnley job, and fortunately he got me in the door, really, you know.
There was a famous cup tie against Scunthorpe United. We were laughing earlier because you don't get replays necessarily anymore, and you came on for Peter Mumby and you went up front.
Yeah, do you know, I was desperate to play back up front. I mean, I had the pace, and it made a change, actually, being able to play again, because all through my childhood, my schooling, my youth level, I always played in forward positions. So it was just, you know what, it just felt like being let free, to be honest, you know. And to be fortunate to score, probably more or less when I came on, that sort of set the touch paper, really.
And the crowd just loved you. Just loved you. They already were behind you, but up front, they just seemed to, you know, they were massive fans if you're playing up front. Well,
you know, it really is, because I think it's every boyhood dream, you know, to actually play professional football, but then for the crowd to be chanting your name and your score and chanting, you know, there's only one way really it can go. So I was so fortunate, and I'll always be indebted to the Burnley supporters.
Yeah, because it was a second replay. We drew 1-1 at Turf Moor, won the toss, came back to Turf Moor for another replay just before Christmas, or between Christmas and New Year, wasn't it? And won that replay 5-0.
Yeah, do you know what? That was one of those nights where everything went well. Nothing could go wrong, really. I mean, the crowd were up for it. I think we needed a bit of positivity at the time. It was just, as a player, as a boy, as a man, to play in an atmosphere under the lights at Turf Moor, it was just absolutely incredible.
Because we've been a long time in that basement division. You know, Burnley had won the league championship in 1916. In the 80s, we found ourselves in the bottom division. 7 years seemed a long time, but it all came right in 91-92.
Yeah, it was brilliant. But you know, the one thing about being at Turf Moor, a little bit similar to starting my career here, everywhere you went, there were stars, superstars of the days that always used to come back to Ellen Road, and it weren't any different at Turf Moor. So what you had to do, you were having to play in front of guys that had played at the highest level. So that were an inspiration anyhow as well, seeing those famous names back at Turf Moor as well. So,
it was a strange old season, 91-92, because we didn't actually start that well. And Jimmy Mullen came in initially as caretaker, replacing Frank Casper. We'd lost at Scarborough, which was a disappointing result. But basically, after the win at Wrexham, when Graham Lancashire got that hat-trick, we never looked back.
Yeah, I think we've been to Russia that season. Well, we had been to Russia that season.
In the summer?
Yeah, in the summer.
Yeah.
And we seemed to hit a blip. I think we'd had 1 or 2 positive results. We seemed to hit a blip. Unfortunately, you know, Frank had left and Jimmy came in. And obviously Lanky came in at the time. And, you know, we just seemed to go from strength to strength. We had a great bunch of great team spirit, great set of lads.
I just never thought from that point on, that after the win at Wrexham, there was only going to be one outcome. Burnley were going up.
Yeah, do you know what? I'm going to be totally honest. Every training session was an enjoyable training session. We had the confidence in us. Not being overconfident, but we were very fit. We were very tough, a tough bunch of lads as well. It was just so positive. Did we know we were going to win the title? Probably not, but we knew we were going to get promoted.
And the front four were just fantastic. Mick Conroy had a fantastic season, didn't he, with that left foot? Yourself, Graham Lancashire, Johnny Francis, scoring goals almost for fun.
Well, you know, one thing about that front four, we were all really quick. Stevie Harper as well. Stevie Harper was rapid. John Francis, another one. But do you know what? Having Mick Conroy in there, he was the icing on the cake. He was the natural goal scorer. It was just a pleasure to play with those guys, and not forgetting, the guys at the back, Big John Pender.
I was going to mention John. I mean, some really sad news recently about John, and we wish him and his family all the very best.
Very, very sad news. I was saying earlier, I mean, John, probably the best captain that I've ever had. What a gentleman. I'm playing alongside Stevie Davis. I've been speaking to Stevie recently, who's been in touch with John, and that partnership, that friendship that they had, it still remains to today. Stephen, like the rest of us, were absolutely so gutted for John, but hopefully, he can be as comfortable as he can be.
Yeah, fantastic skipper for Burnley, wasn't he? Those two promotions, the one we mentioned, obviously, 91-92. Those scenes at York were just incredible. They go with you for the rest of your life, I think.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, I missed the last 3 or 4 games of that, but I ended up walking in with the Burnley supporters, so I had a mile walk where I parked my car. And you know what? That'll live with me forever, because, apart from playing, secondly, to walk in with the supporters was unbelievable.
Wow, it was an eye, wasn't it?
Oh, brilliant.
Absolutely. I mean, we'd waited a long time. I mean, we felt that. We'd waited a long time.
Yeah.
And to get the result at York was a fantastic night.
Absolutely brilliant.
Cheers, Roger.
Great chat, Phil, and I'm sure we'll see Roger back on commentary again soon. Now, switching from one former Claret to the future stars of the game, as Academy Director Paul Jenkins talks us through the pathway of becoming a professional footballer.
It's Paul, 12 months now at Burnley, and since you joined the academy, so what have you seen in that 12 months, and what progression have you seen?
Flown by, that's for sure. A lot of challenges being faced. Moreover, everybody understands the challenges that we've had from the pandemic, really, and so everybody's had to make adjustments. We've all had to do that. So it's been a real challenging experience, something that's pretty unconventional for everybody. But on top of that, it's been highly enjoyable as well, and just seeing the club progress the way it is and players progressing is really encouraging. Being a Category 1 club is a whole host of things, but what's really important and really relevant to our young players is the games programme, and the games programme's got to be challenging, and so coming up against these clubs now and the level of player that you're experiencing is where we want our football club to be, it's where we want our academy players to be. And when you're getting challenged every week in the games programme like that, we're hoping that it's going to develop our young players, So, that's part of the factors of being Category 1. But if we think about Category 1 and being that for the last 2 years, we haven't really been able to operate functionally in a full-time capacity because of all the restrictions. So we're still in that infancy stage. And it's going to be a long time before you can establish yourself, but you've got to start them foundations, and the building blocks started, and we've got to continue to do that.
So we've obviously seen Dwight McNeil establish himself as a first-team player for Burnley in the Premier League, over 100 appearances, come through the academy here. We've also seen 7 academy players in the past 2 seasons make their first-team debut as well. How sort of pleasing and proud is that for the academy, and showing where there is a pathway to the first team?
It's significant. It's a significant statement that you know, if young players are good enough at our football club, that they'll get an opportunity. And you know, that's the message that we're sending out to all the young players. You know, is that your talent is not enough, and it's a famous saying, but it's a very real statement that talent isn't enough. It's going to take character, and it's going to take hard work, not only to get there, but then it takes character to stay there as well. And there's no shortcut. There's no easy route. There's no shortcut to stay there. You've got to make sure that you put the hours in, you put the hard work in, and you know, sometimes you might not even get a reward for that. But the players who show the mental capacity and the character, coupled with the talent that they have, should get them some reward. And over the last couple of years, we've managed to do that, but we want to make that sustainable.
Yeah.
And so the whole, you know, the whole success really of the academy system and your measurement is, for us, is supporting the first team. So it's a real positive message, and it's a positive message that we want to maintain.
And finally, we must mention most recently Owen Dodgson making his first team debut in the FA Cup against Huddersfield. What is that like for the sort of the coaching staff, you know, for an 18-year-old that they coach week in, week out, to then go and play on the big stage in such a historic cup as well?
Yeah, it's one that I've been fortunate to live on many occasions over my time in football, and you know, it is that, you know, the hairs on your neck stand up. That moment when you see one of the players that you've had a small part in developing, because there's a lot of people and a lot of players who've gone through that process, and so there's a lot of staff involved in trying to get them to that point.
As soon as I found out, I just wanted to, you know, when I was on the bench, just wanted to get on and, you know, make an impact, and I did get on, and I did think I made an impact, and you know, ever since I joined Burnley, that was the aim, definitely. I've just been working hard ever since I joined, and that's all I wanted to do really, and I've just got to keep going. I'll keep pushing and just see where it takes me.
For Owen, you know, Owen had a setback, you know, a little setback. He's left Man United. He's came into our football club. He's took that opportunity, and you know, for him to get onto the pitch in the first team is a small milestone for him.
Coming to Burnley, like, I just thought there was a good pathway there, and it was down to myself to like earn my place and to work hard to see where it would take me. And obviously, I've made my debut, but it's only the beginning. Like, I'm nowhere near it yet. Obviously, I've enjoyed being at United, but I just thought I want a fresh start to see, you know, where it could take me in my next, you know, career in football. I definitely look up to Dwight, you know, coming from United, coming to Burnley, making his debut young, and seeing how well he's done now. That's definitely an aim for me to, you know, try to be where he is.
You know, I've seen many young players in my time who's actually managed to get to that point, but you know, the character and the work ethic sometimes hasn't been there. And so when I talk about no easy routes, there's no easy routes, and there's no easy ways to stay there either. You know, it's important that once they're there, that they maintain them levels that got them there, and to enjoy the experience. So, you know, to have Owen involved and to have, you know, Mark and Joe on the bench as well on the same day is a real milestone for our programme, and it's a real positive message that we want to keep doing.
The under-23s and Burnley FC women have made the county ground their home from home this season, and it's fair to say they've settled in nicely with plenty of goals.
Ball forward, finds Tucker, a little bit of space. Halfway line, ball on is nice. Costello trying to run at them. Can he come inside here? Costello has the shots. 1-0 Burnley. Great finish by Costello. He couldn't be shrugged off. Got inside, hit it right foot into the corner. Keeper beaten. Burnley have the lead.
Here's Hamer, she's got the obvious pass to Thomas. Here's Katie Thomas into the area. Can she finish? Katie Thomas, that is a really good finish. Katie Thomas puts Burnley into the lead for the first time this afternoon.
Priestley, Thomas finds Willis. Willis goes to election and unleashes a vicious strike. And what a goal that is from Willis.
Gets it right in there. Burnley already been dangerous. Sassy to try and win the header. Lecky's got it back in there, big chance, and Burnley have scored. It's Will Ugill from a matter of yards. Was in there to apply the finishing touch with his head, and Burnley have got the lead here. Burnley 1, Luton Town 0. We played 29 minutes.
Towards the edge of the area. It's well brought down by Ravening. Ravening's shot, Ravening's goal, and that is a superb start for Burnley women. What a brilliant bit of football. Can she spread the play? Cooper's in bags of space. She can pick out Cooper. Good first touch from Cooper. Brings it down now to Ravening on the edge of the area. That is a sublime goal from Burnley FC. What a beautiful bit of football.
By Priestley, she flicked it straight into the head of the opposition. Then Worthington, what a strike! What a superb strike from Nick Worthington.
In the header, one of them. Michael Mellon again. 15 at all levels this season. Great crossing from Dodge. Another assist for him. Burnley 11.
Ball into the box. It's a good effort. Oh my word! What a goal from Nick Worthington. Would you believe it? You wouldn't think the goal that she scored in the first half could be better. Well, she absolutely just has.
Three years ago, Hollie Kelsh's football career took a turn when a heart condition stopped her playing the beautiful game. This is her story.
So back in 2019, I was on the football pitch warming up and my heart just felt funny. I was getting like an overwhelming feeling of like a fish flopping in my chest is the best way to describe it, and I was getting a little bit lightheaded and just didn't feel right, but carried on with the warm-up, went into the first practice and like things started to get a little bit worse. So I came out of the practice and started to go like quite dizzy. So I came to the side. So my dad drove to pick me up. We went to the hospital and they ran like loads of tests. And they said that my heart was in atrial flutter, which is a condition where your heart beats irregularly, so like the top two chambers beat at a different time to the lower ones. Okay. And it causes this flutter, so it feels literally like weak and floppy in your chest and you're a bit like out of breath, trying to catch it all the time, and it can cause like a little bit of dizziness and like not numb but weird feelings in your arm. Yes. So I spent all night in A&E, but then they discharged me with the symptoms, like I was still in atrial flutter. So I went home and then the next day I was taken back up to hospital by ambulance where they said like it's really bad, it's in flutter still, and it had been in flutter for like 18 hours. I was past the window of where they could just put me to sleep and defib it back, so I had to go through all the rigmarole of going onto a ward and it being in flutter for, I think it was in the end 2.5 days before they could like put me on the blood. So I was having blood thinners through a needle in my tummy, and then they were able to then put me to sleep in one of the cath labs and electric shock me, like stop my heart to start it again with it, the hope, because it's usually very successful, but there is a chance that it won't go into its normal sinus rhythm. So they did that, it was fine, and then went home, recovered, and then for the first like 3 months everything was like great, it was sorted. And then we went into lockdown, like the first lockdown in the March, and I was doing a home workout and my heart went into flutter and I knew it was really serious at this point. So we went up to the hospital, me and my mum, and then I had to be put to sleep in A&E to be defibbed again to get it out of the atrial flutter. which is the whole thing of having to go into the hospital, and especially when you're being put to sleep and it's to do with your heart, it was really emotional.
Yeah, would you say that, because obviously it's sort of what you've spoken about in terms of the invasive surgery physically and that stopping you playing football, but I suppose it's also that emotional and then that mental impact that has on you as a person as well.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I'm getting a bit emotional. No, just give me a second. No, oh gosh.
It's a lot to contend with.
Yeah, so all the emotional side, when you're in the moment, you don't think about it because it's there and then it's happening. But when you're signing the papers, because you have to sign the papers to say what could go wrong, it then hits you. And obviously, I couldn't have anyone in the A&E resus room when I was being defibbed, so I had it done, and for a good few months it seemed to be all right, but I was still having little problems. But because I don't like to worry my family, and I was trying to cover it up and pretend that what was happening wasn't.
Yes.
So that was really difficult because I was keeping it to myself.
Yeah, holding it in.
And anyway, it wasn't successful, and I had to have a third surgery after a gym session again. I was doing a workout and my heart went into atrial flutter, and at first I was like, nah, I'll be all right, it's not happening, I don't want to go up to hospital. And James, my boyfriend, was like, we should go, because I was in flutter for 5.5 hours.
Right, oh, wow, so a significant amount of time.
So then this was during the tier system and lockdown, so I was on my own, which was hard.
Yeah.
So then I went up to the ward and was settled, and then they said they were gonna defib me again, which I got really upset about because it's just not nice to go through.
Yeah, and
especially having to have gone through it twice before. And then literally 2 minutes after they told me they were doing that, they said, no, we're not doing that, we're gonna treat to cure, which was
a relief to hear.
The third surgery, yeah. So they said, we're going to treat you as an inpatient, which was hard because there's a lot of things that I saw and heard in there at the time, which was really difficult, but it was the best way to get cured, if you would, quickly. So I didn't have to wait months, it was just a week. So then I came out of the surgery the day after I was discharged, and then I could start my recovery. And then July came, signed on officially, and then spent a lot of time with Eve, and had a programme kind of tailored to what I needed to do, and returned to selection dates, and weeks went by and I started to make some good progress, and then got to finally do some squad practices, and just
built from there.
Yeah, it's built from there really.
So in terms of, it was squad practices, it was building up fitness, and then you finally, the big breakthrough, a moment came when you featured in the Middlesbrough game. How did it feel when you were on there to be finally back playing, doing what you love, and that all the hard work and every single thing that you'd been through, you could get to that moment and play? Football just brings me so much joy. I feel so fulfilled, and I'm just at my happiest when I've got a ball at my feet. And I honestly I just felt so proud of myself. And I don't care if that sounds really big-headed, but I think it's well deserved.
I honestly, that was the goal, was if I can only ever play one more time and cross that line one more time, then I've done it. And that was the moment where I did it, and I'm able to kick on from there, which is great. But yeah, I was overwhelmed. I felt really emotional because when I came on, like all my teammates.
Yeah, you got rousing cheer.
Stopped and proper like applauded me, and like I was really taken aback.
Yeah, it was quite a moment.
Yeah,
it's a long journey to get there as a destination.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing your experience there and going into detail. I know it's something very personal to you, so we very much appreciate you talking to us. I'm sure that the squad and everyone involved, the club and the women's team, wish you all the best in terms of your recovery. It's been quite a journey you've been on, but it's fantastic to see you back on the pitch and enjoying your football. And may that continue.
Thank you very much.
And you can listen to her story in full wherever you find your podcasts by searching Burnley Football Club. Now, switching gears to the men's team, it's been 10 years since club captain Ben Mee put pen to paper and signed permanently for the Clarets. We caught up with him to take a special look back at a memorable decade at Turf Moor.
So Ben, 10 years at Burnley Football Club now. We're going to look back at sort of some memories, some milestones and some achievements throughout your time. So originally looking back at June 2011, joined on loan from Manchester City. What were your thoughts when you first sort of come into the club and joined Burnley?
I was excited to join, obviously. I chose the club over a few others, and speaking to the manager at the time, I was excited to come here and try and prove myself and work hard to firstly get in the team and then to build from there.
And you went on to make your debut in August that year, and it was against Watford.
Yeah, I just remember wanting to make an impression, obviously on the fans and on the team as well. I want to prove myself. I had a few games in pre-season, done quite well, and it was I think it was a 2-2 draw. But no, it got my career here off to a start, and it's been not looked back really. And
then January came around, and you joined the club sort of on a permanent basis. Was it just the right time, the right moment for you to sort of move on and leave Manchester?
The right time. It felt like the right club for me as well. I'd enjoyed it, in the first months of being here, and I was eager to get signed, and I wanted to improve and like I say, start my career and get it off to a start somewhere else, permanently, rather than sort of being out on loan and not knowing where you're next going to be. It was nice to get a contract here and say work from there.
And then the 2013-14 season came around, the first full season under Gaffer. Been at the club with relegation favourites, but managed to go and get promoted.
Yeah, what a season that was. The group of players we had, the feeling around the club everywhere. Especially after Christmas, fantastic. And the group of players, the squad we had, the group we had was fantastic. We were enjoying every moment of it, and to get that second spot against all the odds, I guess, and to go and get promoted unexpectedly. Brilliant season, great celebrations as well around it as well. So it was brilliant to do that, and obviously the Gaffer's first full season. What an achievement that was.
And then obviously 14-15 season comes around, back in the Premier League, your Premier League debut at Turf Moor. Was that a special moment for you?
Yeah, you're always looking to play in the Premier League as a player, a young player, especially coming up. You want to aim for the Premier League. So to be a part of it, to be involved in it, to see what was involved in playing in the Premier League was an eye opener. Obviously, our first game was on Monday Night Football, so that was increasing the viewers on it, the press on it, everything that comes with playing in the Premier League. So it was a good experience, that first game, and it was a big eye opener into the Premier League as well, playing against such quality as Chelsea. Scotty scoring a great goal, getting off to a really good start, and the place was bouncing. Unfortunately, we didn't quite get that win, or get off to a good start. Remember Fabregas's pass to Shirley that night. Got blamed for not seeing the pass, but I don't think anyone saw it apart from him. It was a big learning curve to see the quality of the players. I think that whole season was a learning curve really. Going into obviously the next season, it's how can you bounce back, and we didn't have the best of first halves of the season, but it all changed sort of around Christmas time, and we were on an amazing run. Wardy came in at full-back. Duffo said I ended his career that day, so but we were on a 23 game unbeaten run, and that, you know, probably the best time that I've had here, you know, on that run, winning games, going, you know, unbeaten for so long, finishing off, you know, winning the league in a real good fashion. You know, yeah, it was a really good time.
And obviously promotion back to the Premier League, then we stayed up the first year back, and you also captained the side for the first time as well. Was that a proud moment for you?
Yeah, proud moment. I think it was against Man City, going out, you know, obviously against my old team as well. You know, captain the side quite a lot in the absence of Heats when he wasn't playing. As I said before, I think a lot of players learnt a lot from that first season in the Premier League, me being one of them, for sure, and using that experience going into the Premier League again.
And then the second season back in 2017-18, we conceded 39 goals, won 14 games and scored the 7th place finish for the Europa League. Was that another standout sort of seasons for you?
Yeah, it was a great season. You know, we were in the mix with the big boys, you know, for the first half of the season for sure, and then, you know, we sort of tailed off towards the end. But no, it was a really strong season. You know, defensively we were rock solid as a whole team. You know, things just clicked, things worked, and yeah, we got results. You know, maybe we shouldn't have got results, but we were so solid as a team. You know, and yeah, I think that was a real good base from what we built on that season, and very successful season, and obviously finishing up in the European spots, and that to look forward to the next season as well.
You mentioned Europe there. We have to speak about what was that like for
great experience. Yeah, fantastic experience. You know, being able to captain the side as well in the first European tie for 50 years, was it? I think it was. No, it was brilliant walking out at Aberdeen, seeing the fans. You know, we didn't get the best of draws. You know, we could have quite easily got some easier teams to play against. But you know, we had a difficult draw. Played some good teams. You know, Istanbul and obviously Olympiacos. You know, I was disappointed to miss out on the Olympiacos game away from home. But the home game was one of the best games that I've played, and I think, you know, the atmosphere and, you know, the fact we probably should have beaten and gone through against such a top European side. It was disappointing in the end that we didn't actually get through, but it was a great game to be involved in, and, you know, an enjoyable one to take part in.
And now on 368 appearances for Burnley, so nearly the 400 mark, 11 goals and 16th in the all-time appearance list for the club. You must be proud sort of looking back on your 10 years at the club.
Yeah, really proud. Not a prolific goal scorer, but no, really proud to have played so many games. I say 16th on the all-time list is, you know, it's a good achievement for myself. You know, looking back over the years, you know, I'll take time once I finish playing to have a proper good look back and you know, reminisce about the times and the players that I've played with, the friends that I've made, and the friends that I'm still making as well. So no, I couldn't have asked for more once I joined here. You know, to be here 10 years later, still going strong, being the captain of the club. I think the club's grown as I've grown as a player as well. I say that quite a lot, but I really do think that's been a big part of me staying here as well, longevity, because we've been progressing as a club, and I've been progressing as a player as well. So it's kind of worked hand in hand and gone really well. So, you know, we want to keep that going and keep moving forward.
An incredible 10 years, congratulations from us all, Skip. And that's it for this month's show. Thanks for watching. As January draws to a close, it's time to take a look back at what the month of February has had to offer in years gone by. See you soon.
Oh, great little run from Matt Lowton, taking men on here. Ball inside, looking for Rodriguez, looking to get it back for Lowton, can he hit it? Oh, he can! Patterson hooks it towards goal. What a finish from Martin Patterson. Robbie Brady to hit it. Oh, the goal! Oh, what a finish from Robbie Brady. Goodmanson taking it down. Can he finish it, Goodmanson? In towards the goal. And that is good. The Clarets are ahead. And it's Ashley Barnes. Launching to get a ball in. Decent enough. Goodmanson's coming. He's gone.
Hendrick down the middle of the park, control of the chest by Vidra, who still has it, and goes for goal! Brilliant finish! Vidra, that's outstanding!